has been your journey in getting to where you are today? Because this studio is like full of incredible art, and it's really big and it's beautiful. So
Thank you.
how have you got here?
That's a big question, isn't it? That's such a big question. Ooh,
Let's break it down.
Okay. So I think, so my background wasn't in art. I did a degree in business, psychology and sociology combined.
Right.
And then I had 7 years in the corporate world. And then I just got to this point where I felt like really disillusioned and I was kind of questioning the meaning of life. And that's when I read an amazing book called The Power of Now.
Yeah.
Have you read it?
Eckhart Tolle.
Yeah. It was incredible.
And have you read A New Earth?
Yes,
as well?
yeah. But when I read The Power of Now, I turned the last page and I just knew I had to quit my job and I needed a fresh kind of environment, and I hadn't been to South America before, so I booked a ticket and left like very suddenly.
Really?
And it was on this trip that I just stumbled upon a street art project and started making mosaic art, and I was 28 at the time and I hadn't made art since I was 16 at school.
Really?
And I just started like smashing up these mosaics and making a big mess and a bit of graffiti, and it was wild and free, and we just had this beautiful mission to make people smile when they walk past. It was very like freeing and just such like liberation, and it was a beautiful experience, but it still didn't drop that I was an artist at that point. I just thought, oh wow, I've had a really amazing experience.
This is fun.
And I feel like really connected and grounded and excited and wow, but I didn't fully sink in. But then I went on the rest of my trip all over South America, and I ended up like deep in the Peruvian Amazon, which is when I met shamans, and I did a 7-day fast. I was like meditating, surrounded by all this dense vegetation and the sounds of the jungle, and I had this like really strong epiphany, and I suddenly knew that I was an artist, even though I didn't have any art to show of myself. So that was kind of my initial like creativity triggers, where I had the awakening that I was an artist.
I love how spiritual that's been for you. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, you read Eckhart Tolle's book, which is a very kind of spiritual book, and then you just went to South America and stumbled upon something, and that's what I think is so great. It almost came from like your gut within. You were like, need to do this.
It was like it's like being open step by step, like, and being open, ready for the next like thing to inspire me and just keep I didn't know what was going to happen next, you know. It wasn't like I thought, oh, I'll go and try and find a new career, or I'll try and be somebody else, or, you know, it was like just a natural like, what is the meaning of life, why are we here, like I need to be in nature, that's all I know right now, you know. And then just like walking barefoot and like finding my way.
I think that's amazing, because I do think such a big thing for many people is not being present and overthinking everything and worrying, like anxieties associated with the future. So it's very much like, oh, what's going on? And you just literally were right, just do this and then see what happens, which is amazing. So then how did you come into like kind of this field, creating like pieces like this? Yeah,
so it's 8 years since I was out of the Amazon jungle. And you know, when I was there, I just got this like it was like creativity, freedom, expression times 100. And it was suddenly that I hadn't, and I'd kind of missed out on all these years of potential creativity, and I was just like so passionate about releasing it all and exploring, and you'll see like there's so many different materials that and different themes, and I'm just like constantly evolving and experimenting. But things happen fast for me, because I was like so in flow, like so where I was meant to be, and I just I kind of put on my first show in the first 3 months.
Really?
Yeah, because I just dropped my old life completely, and there was some challenging years, because I'd like had a really good job before, and you know, like a good paycheck, and I lived with my cool mates in a cool pad, and suddenly I was like, I spent all my money in South America, and I was like skint artist, and you know, it was a completely different life. I kind of had to like close off for a couple of years, and just I was making art for like 18 hours a day. I was like completely obsessed, because I just suddenly had this new thing to explore. And but yeah, I just, you know, created my first collection of artworks and put on a show myself. And at the time, I was actually like, with my art, I'm exploring whatever's on my mind comes out. So at the time, I remember thinking about my nana passing away some years before and trying to have like some kind of peace with it, and in a really positive way, like really kind of like delve deep into death in this like, and explore it instead of like avoiding it like we do a lot in our culture. And I like explored the Mexican Day of the Dead, and I really liked how they celebrated death and also this potential of the afterlife. I really liked that.
And that's super, I guess, reassuring, because it's like, okay, I may have lost this person, but they're somewhere better. And I guess rather than, you're right, people do avoid it. Like, no, I don't want to think about it. And you're kind of being like, no, I'm going to open myself up to it and use it in a positive way to be creative.
And that's how the collection of skulls came out, the very first. And so at first I was this skull artist because I was just obsessed with skulls and beautifying, embellishing and painting them. And then Damien Hirst was on at the Tate at the time, and I'd put on my first show, and a curator from the Tate came to that show and then suggested that I did a workshop in response to his exhibition. And then I'm such an optimizer of like opportunities, and I was like, oh well, I've got an idea for an exhibition, I want to do a talk, I want to do a video piece, and I want to it was just like became this huge installation. So then I had like my second show at the Tate, you know, it was just like things just happened really fast, and then that went so well that
your second show at the Tate.
It was quite wild actually, because I think I'd only been an artist for like 7 months or something.
It was like that's what you were kind of compelled to do, and then and then once you start in that space, then just things start happening. And I always find that when you're in a good space and you're doing something that fulfills you and that fills you up, then it's like bang, 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 more things start.